Say you have built something that works and people are responding to it, opportunities are coming your way, but something feels off. And what if this happens with your brand? And it feels off, but it's not wrong enough for you to walk away from it. It just feels misaligned and you can't ignore it. Welcome back to the Second Voice podcast, where we uncover the conversations that leaders don't have out loud. I'm Luisa Hogan, and today we're diving into the identity war behind your brand, your business brand, or your personal brand, and the tension between what performs and what you think should perform, and what's actually true about you. My guest is wonderful Angel Dash, and I'm so honored to know this magnificent person. I've met her a few months ago, and I'm so glad to call her a friend and somebody I will continue to know for a long time after today. And she is what she calls a flame keeper, and I'm hoping that she will explain that to you, and a sacred brand alchemist. She's also an international speaker and the creator of the trauma informed BOLD method. And she helps soul led leaders turn their story into bold, high converting brands through strategic messaging, visual identity, and website design that feels like home while driving real results. She's a disabled veteran, a queer leader, and a serial entrepreneur. And I love her background and her story. So I can't wait for her to share that. And she blends strategy, sacred storytelling, and nervous system aware design to turn branding into ceremony. And at the heart of her work, she fiercely protects the truth of those who were taught to shrink and helps them to remember their fire with sovereignty and care. And she always says, let's burn the box. And Angel, I'm so proud to have you on my podcast today. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such a pleasure, and I love you to death.
I
So, of
love
course,
you to death.
I had to. I had to be a part of this. So I'm happy to be here, and I'd love to talk about burning the box.
Excellent. Well, let's start a little bit with your background because I know your background, but share a little bit about your story because it's a wonderful story. Tell us about where you've been, where you've come from, and how you've landed up where you are today and calling yourself a flame keeper.
It is a wild roller coaster of a ride. I'm a small town girl and born and raised in Yuma, Arizona. And from there, I joined the military and went overseas, went to Germany and Turkey. Unfortunately, Afghanistan, I sustained an injury. And so when I came back, I walk with a cane now because of that. And I pimped it out. So it definitely has some snake print on it. After the military, I realized that I didn't want to be bossed around, I guess you could say. I wanted to be my own boss. And so that started my entrepreneurial journey of all these different creative ventures from doing hair to I actually had a rage room, which is where people came to break things to release stress here in my local area. And then after that, because my injury got worse and my health went down, I had to focus more on being home and working from my desk. So that began my virtual assistant journey. I did insurance for a while and I hated it. It was not a creative venture for me. I hated
Can't
that so
imagine you
much.
doing that at all, knowing you. That would be wild.
I'll share a story with you some other time about that because that was a crazy time in my life. But as I progressed through my journey and figuring out who I was, 2021 was the catalyst that dropped me. That was the lowest point for me because I had family members in the hospital and my best friend, my soul sister, was also in the hospital for an autoimmune disease. And unfortunately, she passed away from it. And she was only 29 years old. And seeing her be this life of the party and this beautiful badass to completely deteriorating over the course of 2 years, it wrecked me. And losing her was the thing that cracked me open, because without her, I wouldn't have realized that I needed to step outside this box that I had made myself be in. And that was the survival box. And I talk a lot about that in when I'm talking about burning the box, right? I put up these walls and I'm leaning on them because I think this is what society wants from me. And I had to learn to get out of that box. And I had to learn that I am who I am. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm a badass and I walk with a cane, and I am who I am because there's only one life. I only have one life, right? I'm not going to live forever, but I want to make as much of a change and an impact as much as I can positively for the collective. So and now I'm here, and now we do. I'm building the agency that I absolutely love. It's my dream, and now we focus on voice and visuals for our clients, and we build it in a creatively somatic way. So we go deep into the soul, we talk about the trauma, we work through that so that we can have our clients show up fully as their beautiful badass self. And that's what we do now, and it's amazing. It's an amazing journey.
So tell me more about that work, because I'm so intrigued. And like, why Flamekeeper in that brand Alchemist?
Ooh.
Explain more about what it is that you actually do to help people find that authenticity in their brand.
So I'll start with the Flamekeeper, because a lot of people, they hear Flamekeeper and they're thinking, okay, well, she's the keeper of the flame.
Yeah.
And in short, yes. But how that came about was, during that dark point in my life, I remember having a vision, and it was a really dark hallway. And at the end of this hallway, there is a very feminine silhouette, and there's a glow behind her or around her, and I can't make out what she's holding or anything. So I'm walking down this really dark hallway, and when I get to her, she has this flame in her chest, and she's holding it in her hands. And she's holding this flame in her chest, and as she's coming towards me and I'm coming towards her, the flame is getting brighter. And she takes a torch and she lights the torch with the flame that's in her heart, and then she passes it to me. And I just remember that vision was one of many sequential visions after that, of me having this fire, this passion of caring for people. I've always cared for people. I've always been the cheerleader. I've always been the person that is there for you when no one else is, because I've been in those dark shadows. I've been in those dark hallways when I didn't have anybody. So the point of the flame keeper is to, with a flame within our heart and a torch in our hand, we light the way for others. Right? So I'm going to walk with you. I'm not afraid of the dark. So I'll sit in the dark with you on those dark days. That's what it means to be a flame keeper. It means that you're there for anyone and everyone that's in your circle. I guarantee everyone who's listening to this is a flame keeper for their circle, for their friends, for their family. And that's what it means. And if that's what I can share with the world, then yes, we're all flame keepers, and we're all here to help bring that collective up and bring up the abundance and happiness and joy.
Amazing. And how do you
I got
translate that
goosebumps.
into, yeah, you and I get goosebumps around each other all the time. How do
Yep.
you translate that into your work then? Because, I've talked to you lots, and then the other day, just for people listening, Angel sent me some examples, because I'm interested in working with Angel on redoing my 10-year-old business, on redoing my brand. And Angel sent me some examples of some of the work that she does. And it's absolutely beautiful. And I want to know, like, what is the process that you go through to come out with some of that beautiful work that you do for your clients, where it just feels so aligned to them, but it also looks absolutely stunning? Like, how does the flame keeper do that?
So it started with a lot of training on my end, right? So I have the business expertise. I've been in business for the past 12 years in different ventures. So I've had to do a lot of learning. I have a business degree, but the business side of it, I can do in my sleep. The creative side of it, I'm always wanting to find something new, something fun, something, okay, this is great. I want to incorporate that, right? Now, what I noticed about myself is, yes, I can do the branding. Yes, I can do the web design, but what sets me apart from other brand agencies and brand designers is the fact that I sit with you in the dark. One of the first meetings that I have with my clients, we talk about where they're at, right? And what their vision is for their business. And so I ask them, okay, if your vision is to impact the world with, let's see, my most recent client, she's a therapist, a licensed therapist, and she came to me and she's like, I don't see images. I don't see images in my head, which I, being neurospicy, had no idea that that was a thing.
That exists as a thing. Yes.
I thought everybody saw images in their head, but no, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Some people don't see images. Some people also only see words.
Yeah.
And so that kind of like helped me to learn through that, right? And to take the time to explain in a way that they could understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this client, she came to me and she's like, I don't know how to put this in words. I want my brand to encompass the light and the dark. And she has a little bit of some butterfly images and imaging, but she's like, I don't want it to be like fantasy and all these like pretty girly like things, right? And I was like, okay, so let's delve into this. When I'm doing the somatics with my clients, it's more of a, okay, we're going to meditate. We're going to come up with a couple of words, things that are coming to mind for you right off the bat, right? No hesitations. I want you to just right off the bat, what do you think about, right? So for you, one of the things that you and I have talked about, right, is a hummingbird. I know
Mm-hmm.
that that's going to come for you, right?
100%. Mm-hmm.
Right. Only because I also know you so well, and
Yeah.
it resonates so well with you. With her, she said butterfly, but when she said butterfly, she's like, but it's not the butterfly that has come out of the cocoon. It's the transformation. So I don't know if you know this, and for your listeners, I don't know if anybody knows this because I had to do my research, but when a caterpillar goes into a cocoon and they're transforming into the butterfly, their entire atoms and cells completely disintegrate
They're going to
and
goo.
they turn into goo.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And I
Do
was like, oh my gosh.
you know what's wild? Can I tell you one example? When they become
Yeah.
butterflies, they remember things that they did when they were caterpillars. How?
Right.
When they became goo. Nobody
Right.
knows how they do that.
That's probably a scientific thing from ancestral trauma. We probably
Yeah.
know this too.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about the goo. But if you think about it, like we all have to go through some point in our life that was tragic for us. And that could look different and will look different for everybody. So when it comes to my clients, we will sit and we will take the space. I hold the space for them. We'll meditate on things that come to mind when it comes to colors, when it comes to their images that they want to bring forward, the feelings that are coming forward. So I focus a lot on the feelings. Excuse me. I also focus on where in the body they're feeling. Maybe they're feeling tension around something. They really want to have hearts in their brand, right? But as they're saying hearts, I'm watching how their body just kind of like, hearts. So
Mhm.
there's tension there. So there's a lot of intuitive, there's a lot of body language, there's a lot of feeling into. And then if my client wants to talk about it, we can delve into more of their shadows. We talk about, okay, well, what do you want your clients to feel? What do you want your audience to feel with your brand? And based off of that, I start to form images. And it's so crazy how it happens for me because I will finish with a client after we had our session. And if you ever look at like one of my, I'll have to send you a picture of my scrap paper that I have when I'm doing this, because there's words and drawings and things all over this page, right? It looks chaotic as hell. But when I look at this and then I meditate afterwards, and then it's like the images just come right out to me, and then I create it. And I've had so many of my clients tell me, how did you pull this out? This is exactly what I wanted. And I was like, because my spirit guide was talking to your spirit guides. Like, that's what's happening.
They
It
know.
sounds
They know.
crazy, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of intuitive work. There's trauma informed work involved as well.
Yeah.
I've gone through my own trauma therapy. One of my partners, she's also a licensed therapist as well. And so there's a lot of constant learning around that and constant holding of the space, right? So once the transformation begins, I'm never going to just drop and walk away from you. I'm always going to stand by your side, and we're going to continue until we do the launch. And once we do the launch, then the feelings are like, oh my God, we did it. It's great. It's great. So yeah, it's a wonderful experience. And yeah, I love turning the voice into visuals.
Amazing. Well, Angel, I love your story and I love the work that you do. You have to, if you're listening, check out. I'll put Angel's, links on the show notes and everything. Go check out her work. It's beautiful. But I want to know, like, the self talk. This is a self talk podcast. I want to know the inner talk that you've had through that amazing journey, because you've tried different things. You're a veteran. You have a disability as a result of that. You've come through a lot of change yourself. I know you've talked to me about the inner change and the inner work that you've done. Talk to me about how you've come to having this beautiful, successful brand yourself that is helping others with their brand, and the inner talk that has led you to where you are. Like, were there moments of doubt? Was it all like moments of awakening? Tell me more about that, so other people who may be going through something similar and looking for the thing that they do, like, what does that look like for somebody?
I am just like everyone else. I struggle with imposter syndrome. I'm I'm still working through that. There are days that I have that are worse than others.
Mhm.
And I think it's a matter of finding the right support system for you first and foremost, whatever that looks like. My support system looks like my partners. My support system looks like really close friends of mine. My overseas Aussies that I love so much.
I'm happy to be included in one of those.
Absolutely. Because I also realized that having different people in my life from different walks of life also gives me perspective on where things are and where they could be and where they're going. Right. And so during that really traumatic year of my life, I struggled with my spirituality. I struggled with religion and trying to find something that worked for me when my best friend was just here a second ago and then she's gone. And so having that battle within myself, there was a lot of deprecating thoughts. There was a lot of negativity. There was a lot of, should I be here? Should I continue? And at the end of it, there was always this little voice, and I feel like it's her. I feel like it was her flicking me on the back of the ear. Um, but there was
Probably
always
was.
something. In the beginning, it was very light, so I didn't feel it as blunt as I feel now. Now it's a full on flick in the ear, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm doing the thing. But before, it was just like this, like, you've got to keep going. There's more to this. There's more to you. You're not showing your whole light. You're not sharing your fire as you should be. There was just something that kept coming up in that
Mhm.
for throughout those years, and it wasn't until that point that I was like, oh shit, like, yeah, I need to do this. I need to stand for myself. I need to unblock my throat chakra essentially because it was blocked.
Mm.
I had been under a rock thinking that others wanted to see me, hear me, view me in a certain way, right? I had this thought that people needed to see me professional in order for them to work with me,
Mm.
right? And so I would start taking on any client that would come my way. Any client would come my way, and by the end of it, I was completely drained. I was irritable, I was angry. I took the time to realize that all of these things that were happening for me weren't happening to me, right? They were happening for me.
Mm.
So I lost my train of thought. That happens often with my neurospiciness. So
That's
bear.
absolutely fine. No, that's all right. I mean, I have questions there that might get us back
Oh,
onto like that
sure.
thing, you know. What strikes me with that is often the very thing that we have to learn ourselves becomes the thing that we teach others, right? And I love that you're talking about like that doubt, but things happen for you and you learning that process and trusting that process because it sounds like it's a journey of trust, right? And you know, I'm with you. Like I used to take on any client that I could, and then only later when I trusted in my work and in myself did I go, no, that's not how I work because that's just not fulfilling for me, and there needs to be some values there, right? So you know, I love that you do that. Like you went through that process yourself and now you sort of help other people to do the same thing, right? You know, find that
I do
authenticity.
in a different way. I
Hmm.
do. And it you just sparked a memory that just popped up recently.
Hmm.
So previously I would work with almost anybody that would come my way. Now I'm very selective with who comes into my space because this isn't just this isn't just branding. This isn't just branding and web design. This is I'm holding this space for you and I'm letting you into my inner world. So, and you're going to let me into your inner world. So there has to be a level of trust there. So there has to be, we have to get along right away. Right.
Mm.
So it's funny that you mentioned it because I had an interaction with somebody recently, right? And this goes along with the inner thoughts that are happening. So I had an interaction with somebody recently and I thought it was going to be great for myself. I thought it was going to be lead to wonderful opportunities. And it still may, but um during this interaction, I felt very closed off. I didn't feel my normal bubbly self. Excuse me.
That's
Um
okay.
I didn't feel my normal bubbly self and I couldn't figure out why. I was like, what is happening? Like normally when I'm talking to people, when I'm talking even through the screen, I'm like using my hands and I'm very like uppity and like
Yeah.
talking and happy, right? You've seen that, you've witnessed that. Well,
Yeah.
during this interaction with this person, I was like, Angel, stop it. Like I had to mentally tell myself to stop like crossing my arms, but that was my body telling me, I don't like this. I don't like this. And I was like, oh, after this interaction with this person, everything around me just kind of like got really dark and all of the negative thoughts that normally I can keep at bay and I can work through were just like on my chest, in my head, pushing me down, trying to get me to be smaller. And I was like, "What is this? What is this?" Like I was mad because I was like, "This is not me. What is happening right now?"
Mm.
So I literally got up from my desk and I was like, "Okay, because I'm a spiritual baddie, okay." I was like, "I'm going to go light some sage and I'm going to go light some dragon's blood and I'm going to dance around my office with these little things, and I'm going to go, you're going to get the F out because I'm not doing this. We're not having this energy. So I turned on some music and I'm like, okay, we're going to dance it out. It's fine, because that's what needs to happen. You have to move your body to get that stagnant energy out. And that's where people get stuck, because they're like, well, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. I don't want people to think I'm silly, or they don't want to take me professionally.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
If they're going to take any of that from you, and they're going to take, oh, well, you're silly, you're this, I can't see myself having a conversation with you. Okay, well then you weren't
They're
here.
not the people for you. They're not the people for you. But also, like, what strikes me about what you just said is how many people would feel that yuckiness and like feel this and ignore it and continue to interact with this person for the sake of clients, or for the sake of not looking bad or not disappointing people. And this is what I like talking about. It's like we all have that internal, that intuition, that guidance that comes to us, that feeling, and we ignore it. And entrepreneurs especially do this. People who work for themselves, looking for clients, they go through this panic phase of, it's important that I have the money and the work coming in, otherwise my business is going to fail, and do all of that. And they ignore all of those feelings for the sake of looking professional. And it actually doesn't serve them or their business at all, does it?
Nope. The thing that I have noticed in the most recent years, ever since that thing that happened in 2020, because I don't know if we can talk about it.
It's probably safer not to say it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that thing that happened, right?
Yeah.
So what I noticed about that is there was a lot of masks came off. Right. So people, when you go into work, when you go into your job, your office, you're in a specific space, you're around specific people, you put up a mask, whether you realize it or not, because you're wanting to be liked. You're wanting to be accepted in this area of your life. But what I've noticed more so recently is that the right people are naturally going to be just attracted to your energy, and it's just going to be a magnet. And so the right people are just going to find you, and it's going to emanate the way it should. I spent years trying to be professional but still have that little bit of quirk, right? So in high school we had uniforms that we had to wear, and it was very like white polo and like a khaki pant kind of thing. I would put on rainbow beads or a rainbow scarf around my waist. Like, I was always finding a way to dress it up. And I was still doing that also in business prior to 2021, because I was like, people think that if I have colored hair or if I have tattoos, that I can't give them the beautifully professional services that they're looking for. But who I am has nothing to do with, well, I mean, it does have everything to do with, but at the same time, what I look like is not going to affect the amount of service that I provide for those people. Right. And so it comes back to, I talked about this earlier today too. It comes back to a visibility wound versus an exposure wound. Right? So a visibility wound is, I don't want to be seen, or I don't want to go out in public, or I don't want to go with those friends because I haven't seen them in a bit, or that's the visibility wound. The exposure wound is the emotion underneath it. It's the judgment that you're afraid you're going to see or receive. It's the projection that you have, that you're putting on them, that you think they're thinking. And that's it's a confusing statement, but what I mean by that is, whenever I would walk outside my house with my cane, I would say, prior to doing my work, prior to doing my shadow work, I would say, oh, people are going to look at me funny. They're going to think, well, why does this person who is so young have a cane? Why do they have a cane? Why are they walking with a cane? When in actuality, they could be thinking, wow, I really like her shirt today. Wow, look at her cane. It's got that cool little bedazzle on it, right? That was me projecting what I thought others were going to think
Mm-hmm.
of me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of the exposure when you are feeling exposed versus you being visible. And so we talk about that with my clients. I talk about that with my clients. We work on the exposure wound and the visibility wound, and then we transmute that into their business, their brand, and then it starts to feel like home because it's exactly who they are. It's who they are becoming, and they're like, "Yes, this is me. I've been waiting for somebody to get it. I got you." I listen pretty well.
Yeah, you do. I mean, having seen your work, like it's amazing. It looks beautiful. I
Thank
so
you.
relate to that because like early on in my career, I mean, I consider myself edgy. And
Oh,
you know,
mhm.
I got tattoos. You know, I've always been a little bit edgy, a little bit like dressing up a little bit rocker. You know, like rock kind of vibe. I love that vibe. And as I get older, it's like I have to find age appropriate rock vibe, but it's still
Nope.
there, right? It's
No age
still there.
appropriate. No. See,
But
you're doing it. Don't do it.
no, but it's like you know, like it has to look good to me. Like to me, it has to still look good, right? And early on in my career, I you know, my first proper office job, and I'd go in and I'd dress a little edgy. And an older lady that I worked with put in a complaint against me saying that I wasn't professional coming into work with that clothes. And I had got spoken to, and I was terrified. I was 23 years old, so I'm like, oh, nobody is going to think I'm professional. So I changed how I dressed at work, and I just wore like the normal corporate gig stuff. And it was only
Mhm.
later on, you know, when I started like finding myself again. And then I'd wear the corporate gig stuff with really edgy shoes. And then I've always had like I got more and more edgy with my hair. And now in my own business, right, like I like this is what you get. And I come to meetings and I dress in like Japanese style, rock style, like always really, really edgy. And you know what? It's actually the thing that people remember and
Mhm.
love. And if they don't love it, they're not the right clients for me, right? And but people remember it, and I go and I speak on stages too, and they remember me from like my edgy app, and they're like, "Wow, you always look so edgy." People stop me all the time over what I'm wearing, and it's funny when you let go of the fear. It's just like there's going to be one or two people who don't like it, so be it. But the 23-year-old me was so afraid, and 45-year-old me is like, whatever, you know. And
Mhm.
perhaps it takes age. I'm interested to know, like, how does like that nervous system? You do somatic work. How does the nervous system regulation stuff impact people's decisions on a brand in terms of tone and visuals and messaging? You know, like, does it have a huge impact in what you see? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. When I can immediately tell when somebody is making a decision based off of chaotic energy versus making a decision off of something that feels good in their heart. They've sat with it. They feel into it. Um, a lot of my clients, they have had I don't know if trauma is the right word around them working with specific industry or specific people in the service industry. But I have noticed that a lot of the people that come to me, a lot of my clients, they're always like, well, could you, I'm not really sure if I should change this, right? So there's always that little bit of hesitation. So when I talk to them, I'm giving them the confidence to be able to also speak their truth because I'm not making it a hard time by changing the things that they want changed. So I walk them through, hey, this is what I was thinking about for your logo, and here's how we came up with that. Here's kind of where I was thinking, and we kind of delve into this part, and I explain it. And so when I explain it to them and I give them the power to be able to hold their own space and hold their own voice, they feel more confident. So then they can speak up better, right? So when your nervous system is chaotic, when you have things going on, when there's tension in your chest and your shoulders and your heart, that's going to be a decision based off of scarcity. So when you're making a decision based off of scarcity, especially within your business, well, then now your business is going to be centered around scarcity. And you don't want that. Nobody wants their business to be focused solely around scarcity. You want it to be focused around abundance. So when you are focusing on the moments of tenderness, the moments of like, okay, well, we're going to take some breaths. We're going to ground ourselves, and we're going to go into this session. Like, this is just two friends talking about what you want to do with your business. And then we work through that. And we do a little bit of a meditation to figure out what is stuck up here in their head. And then I put it down on paper and I bring that to life. I had somebody tell me the other day, it's like you're taking a bunched up ball of yarn that's like all disheveled, and then you're just pulling out the string just so easily, and it just begins to unravel, and
Mm.
it just turns into these beautiful visuals. And I was like, oh wow, well, I'm glad that I could help, because I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a wonderful experience to be able to hear that too.
You're speaking my language because, as you know, I do all it's steady leadership for me, resilient leadership, steady leadership. And my work is solely around, when you are steady, you make calm and clear decisions. And I love how you've extrapolated that into you're going to be building a brand from a calm and clear place. And that is only going to be helpful to your brand, because then it isn't something that it's not. I mean, what's the risk of people staying? Like, anybody listening who's thinking, oh, well, I've got my brand. It doesn't really matter about who I am inside. My brand works. It's making me a lot of money. So it doesn't matter.
Mm.
Like, what's the risk of staying with a brand that doesn't align or no longer reflects who you are? Like, for me, my brand for Vermelho, it started 10 years ago, and I'm ready. I'm ready to not rebrand, not change the name or anything, but it visually needs to look different for me. I know what the personal risk for me is. It's just not going to resonate with me. But like, what is the risk to those listening if you don't realign it with who you really are?
In short, you're putting a cap and a limitation on yourself and your business and your brand. If I'm speaking corporate, that's the way I would say it, right? If I'm speaking in a creative tone, think about all the times that you're wanting change, or you're going through a change, and you know that in order to pass this test, in order to go to the next version, you have to do the training, you have to do the work to get there, right? That's with anything in life, whether that's trauma work, whether that's doing a course that you're wanting to do, whether that's for your school studies. Like, you have to train for it, you have to go through the work and the inner work of doing you have to do the inner work in order to get to where you're trying to go, right? And so when you are sticking with a brand that just works, right? Yes, it may be successful, but what happens when now the brand, you go through the change, you find a designer that works with you, that pulls out the images that are stuck in your head and actually does the work with you, alongside of you, and now the brand begins to fully encapsulate and embody who you are and who you're becoming and the people you want to help. So now when somebody looks at your brand, now they're going to feel that. It's not a matter of like, okay, well, here's the brand. Okay, well, I trust that brand because I've worked with them before. Whereas if you send a past client your new branding that you've done, they're going to see, oh, this is exactly you. This is who you are. I can see it. It's about the emotional connection that you're having, not just with yourself, but also with the people that you're going to interact with within your business.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that your personal journey reflects exactly that.
It
Like,
does.
you are walking the talk. You walk the talk, Angel. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about you, that you are super authentic and vibrant and wonderful to talk to, and spiritual and quirky and all the fun things. And then you produce like exquisite work too, and knowledgeable too, right? So, but it's funny also going against the grain, because like all the things that you hear about, tone and brand voice, you understand all of that, but people take that as face value, and they just go on, like their inner voice is saying, no, I have to do this because, pink is a bad color for brand color because in, this country it's an offensive color. And like people just overdo that
Hmm.
kind of analysis, right? And
They
what you're
do.
saying is get rid of the analysis and do something that's authentically you, and the rest
Hmm.
will come, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When it comes to feeling into your brand, when
Mm.
it comes to feeling into yourself, right? So with me, I remember, I love telling this story. When I did the rebrand of my logo, right now, my logo, it's my name, but in the middle of my name is my cane, a skull, and a snake, right?
I love
And
it, by the
there's
way. It looks so cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
There was some stargazer lilies in there too, because those grow in the moonlight and they always grow up. But when I went through this journey, she's a friend of mine and she's a shaman here locally. And we went through a journey. This journey led me to outer space on a broom with Merlin. And when I say Merlin, I'm thinking of the goofy Merlin from Disney, right? That's who's dancing next to me in space while I'm doing this. But this journey was about creativity and I had it blocked. And after I went through that journey, I remember just starting drawing and I was drawing my logo for my brand. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what it is. Well, if you also look at that, the staff, it also looks very similar to, I believe it's the rod of Asclepius,
Hmm.
which is the original medical signal.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Which has
and
also
I
got the
was,
two snakes wrapping around it, right?
so, and I was a medic in the army. So
Yeah.
that's why it just all like came together on the
Amazing.
paper. And I was like, oh, this is what it means to actually like fully embody me.
Yeah.
And it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
Amazing. Wow. Well, Angel, the time has flown. I want to keep
Oh, it
talking to
has.
you. We might have to have an episode 2 of us chatting in the
Ooh.
next season or something because I absolutely adore talking to you. You always inspire me. I get goosebumps talking to you because you have such wonderful insights that are not just, the normal business talk, which is why I was so happy when you booked in to speak to me on this podcast because just get a different perspective entirely. And I'm so happy to have had you on this podcast. So, where can people reach you? So I can't rave enough about Angel. So where can people find you? How can they connect with you? How can they just follow you or ask questions? Where can they find you?
The place that I am at most is Instagram, and you can find me at Angel Branding Co. And spell out my last name, Dash. Don't put the hyphen. And I'm also on all the other socials. You can also find me going to Google Angel Flamekeeper. That should also come up as well. So
Excellent.
and just send me a message. I love hearing from all different people. Give me a follow. I'm working on some grand, awesome, cool new things up this next year. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see where it goes too. And I know that you are going to have amazing success with it. So thank you so much. And to everyone listening, what I took away from this episode, besides all the joy that Angel gives me, is that the strongest brands aren't built with perfect strategy or with perfect external visuals that you think everyone's going to want. It built from what works for you and what's true for you inside and what finally stops being at odds with who you are. And Angel has certainly embodied that in her journey and building her business. And it's something that I'll definitely take with me into building my business as I continue to grow that over the next few years, is finding that authentic voice inside of me. So I know that you have enjoyed this episode as much as I have. We will see you next time. And thank you, Angel. Bye.
Bye.